Hi everyone, my name is Anne and I'm part of the nutrition team at Safefood. And I'm going to chat to you today about our Community Food Initiatives program and focusing in on the kind of different requirements for organisations that are part of the program. So I suppose to begin, the overall aim of the programme is to positively influence the eating habits of communities across the island of Ireland, and it does so through supporting development of skills and knowledge around food and healthy eating. So this is the sixth programme that Safefood are funding, and the funding really, I suppose, has reached over 50,000 people in the time that we've been delivering. And the kind of activities have been things like cooking courses, nutrition courses, and practical skills. So we've seen from evaluation of the programme over the years that it has positive impacts on the participants, things like improving eating habits, improving access to food. There is social and emotional benefits for being part of the programme and improvements in things like cooking skills. But also there's a positive impact for the organisations that are delivering the programme. So for organisations, it's the opportunity to build connections with other organisations delivering similar types of work. It gives you the opportunity to increase collaboration and connection with organisations within your own community. And also it gives you another offering for your community. So you are able to draw people in with food and reach people that maybe otherwise aren't engaging with your service. And then you can look at opportunities for those individuals around other services that you have that might be beneficial to them. So really, it's all around using food as a vehicle for change. So there's three main parts to the Community Food Initiative programme. There's a Community Food Initiative core programme, which is what I'll be focusing on today, where we are funding up to 28 organisations across a 4-year period to deliver a number of different activities. And I'll be going into a little bit more detail on that then now as we move through our slides. But there's also two other elements of the programme and funding available. So there's also the CFI cross-border partnership. And this is where we are funding up to 8 organisations, and they will be working in partnerships. So there'll be 4 partnerships where we'll have an organisation from the south and one from the north, and they'll work together to deliver a project each year. So they'll work together on the theme and the content of the project they want to deliver, and at least once during the project they'll bring participants together in person. So this really is all about providing an opportunity for collaboration across different jurisdictions, and bringing people together across different jurisdictions to share experiences around food. So this is kind of a standalone piece, but organisations that are part of the core programme can apply to be part of the cross-border partnership as well, but one is not reliant on the other. They're two separate application processes. We also have CFI Innovate, which was formerly CFI at Home, and this is one-off funding each year for up to 25 organisations to deliver one-off projects. So back to the Community Food Initiative core programme. So we have organisations that are, I suppose, really acting as champions for the core programme in their area. And for each organisation that's recruited, they have a leader who coordinates their activities. So this really is a programme. The funding is there to deliver a programme. So there's a number of required activities. So each organisation must deliver 2 to 4 small projects per year and 1 community dissemination piece. And I'll talk about these in more detail as we move on. But with both of these pieces, you will submit proposals in advance around the type of work that you want to do, the audience, and these will be reviewed and approved by SECAD and Safefood before you go ahead and deliver those. You also are responsible for reporting and evaluation. So there's reporting of key performance indicators, reporting on expenditure. In terms of evaluation, there is a standard questionnaire that will be provided to assess changes in nutrition and food behaviors, but you're also required to evaluate your own performance. So this would be asking participants their experience of the program, what worked well, what didn't, and really taking that so that you can use that feedback to inform future delivery of your projects. You're required to work with a steering group to support your activities, to attend an annual networking event where we'll bring all of the organizations that are part of the core program together in person to, meet with one another, share learnings, hear about the work that you're all doing, but also we'll be bringing in external kind of organizations that aren't part of the program to share work and share ideas in terms of different types of projects. And also you're required to attend a couple of online meetings each year. And again, this is just an opportunity to share the work that you're doing with the other organizations part of the program, talk about any challenges, and really just build a network of support. In terms of the activities that you deliver, they're all around 6 central themes. So, this is around knowledge of healthy eating, skills like cooking, shopping, budget and meal planning, preventing food waste, promoting food safety, and overall improving the availability and access to safe and healthy food in the community. In terms of the audience, you choose the target audience based on the needs of your local community, and this can change, from project to project or year to year. You are asked when you're submitting your proposals who your target audience is and why you're choosing them. So you are required to deliver 2 to 4 small projects each year. And the small projects are where you're bringing people together and supporting them over time to develop skills and knowledge. So this is bringing people together on multiple occasions over a period of time, and it's building on skills and knowledge each time. So we have to deliver 2 to 4 of those projects per year. So we're flexible in terms of the time frame for delivery, how many sessions you do, the time period, and in the format that you use for delivery, whether that's in person, online, or a mix of both. So the flexibility is there to allow each organisation to use the budget that is available to you and the funding alongside the resources that you have yourself and that are available in your own community to the best of your ability. So previous organisations have told us that, for some of them, it's easier to deliver maybe 2 longer programmes, so delivering maybe more sessions, but with the same group of people. And for others, it's easier for them to run, multiple programmes. Some organisations might have access to a free venue or have tutors that, are part of their own team, so they don't need to use the funding for those elements. So therefore, they're able to deliver maybe longer projects or more projects, whereas some won't have those resources, and part of the funding will need to go on those items, so they're not able to deliver the same amount. So gives flexibility depending on the resource for each organisation. For the small projects and any activities you're carrying out, you have to engage with qualified tutors and experts. This is of particular importance with anyone talking about nutrition, and they would be vetted in advance. So anyone talking about nutrition must either be a qualified registered nutritionist or dietitian, and there is information in the supporting documentation for the program on what we're talking about here and the requirements. Or you can have somebody who's trained in a program like Healthy Food Made Easy, Cook It or Food Values. They can deliver those programs and talk about the areas they were trained about under those programs. With the small projects, a minimum of 1 small project must focus on the theme of improving availability and access to safe and healthy food. And I'm going to give some examples of small projects in a moment in different areas. So in addition, I suppose, to delivering these small projects, you will get support from us in terms of resources, both kind of physical resources like leaflets, posters, and booklets, and also digital resources like, videos around recipes and different cooking skills that you can use as part of your projects. So just to give you some examples, I suppose what we've seen is that a lot of our small projects really, they center around cooking as the core skill. And the other themes that I mentioned, the meal planning, the shopping, the food waste, the food safety are all kind of interwoven then into that. So for an example of some previous projects that have been delivered, we've got Big Cook, Little Cook, which over 4 sessions, they were each week cooking a main and a baked item, and they took recipes from our Safefood 101 Square Meals recipe book. And then within that, so they had this cooking demonstration and cook along with parents of toddlers in each session. But while they were doing that, they also then each week had information around nutrition. So they had a nutrition nugget where they talked about a particular topic of nutrition. Also, you can look at the needs in your particular community and partner with other organizations to deliver projects. So an example of that would be a previous organization used the funding to deliver healthy food made easy in partnership with a local food bank. So what they'd seen is that users of the food bank had reported not knowing what to do with some of the items that were available at the food bank. And also things like literacy were reported as a concern. So what these organisations decided to do was use the funding to deliver the pre-established Healthy Food Made Easy programme. So they provided healthy eating advice following that curriculum. But when it came to the cooking element of that program, they cooked recipes that were using items that were available in the food bank. And as literacy had been highlighted as a concern, they used a lot of visual elements, so videos and kind of simplified materials to support the delivery of that program. So I mentioned the mandatory theme of improving availability and access to safe and healthy food. And really the purpose of this theme is to think about the wider food environment. So we've seen that, as I mentioned, the cooking skills and the more practical skills around food and healthy eating are really at the kind of the core of the program and the projects that are delivered. But we know that, people's food skills are only one element of improving our diet. And we actually need to look wider at what really surrounds us, because that ultimately also shapes our health. So this is really thinking about what access do we have and what availability is there of, healthy food in the community. It's really thinking about, how easy is it to buy and access healthy food? Is it affordable? What type of access is there in terms of the different shops and spaces where we get our food? How is it marketed to us? So with this theme, we really want you to kind of think about what's relevant to your local community. And that could, involve as well, if you haven't already, actually asking your community, what would they see as helpful? What did they find challenging around healthy eating and accessing healthy food? You might need to map your environment and see where the gaps are in terms of the food that's available. And even in doing that, looking at, the different spaces where food is available. So we're not just talking about supermarkets, you're thinking about maybe a community cafe, the food bank, the local youth club or sports centre that's providing food, and thinking about how that could be improved. So some examples of what that could look like, it could be having a local food market. So this here, I know you're thinking food market, you might be thinking the local farmers market, but what I'm talking about here is something really simple. And I visited a really nice project in Scotland where they were doing this. So it was in an area where they had very limited access to healthy food at an affordable price. The community were having to travel if they wanted to get healthy food at affordable prices. So what they did was once a week, they had organised with a local greengrocer and a local butcher to bring in fresh fruit and veg, and fresh meat and produce to the local community at an affordable price. And this was as simple as it was set up, with just a trellis table in the centre of the local community, and it was being manned by members of the local community. And for a couple of hours each week, this food was available, and it's been really successful. As I mentioned, you might also look at mapping your environment. So, creating a visual representation of where food is available and what kind of food is available, and use that as showing an area for change. So I suppose we realize that, um, this is a kind of a much wider piece, and you may be using the funding to kind of begin to scope out what you might do. And then the next year you might start to look at implementing projects, or if you've already done some of this work, you be looking at how you can continue on with that. But also looking at, because some of these are wider pieces, how you can, collaborate with other organizations, look at other funding streams, and working together to deliver this project. Excuse me. So you're also required to carry out an annual community dissemination piece. So the purpose of this activity really is to promote the work to the wider community. It's all around starting a conversation at a wider level around healthy food. So that's both with the, individuals in your community who might be future participants in your projects, but also at a wider level, thinking about the stakeholders that are able to influence what kind of food is available. It's starting a conversation with them, and really getting food on the agenda for the local community. There's a number of different ways of doing this. It might be through hosting a community event. It could be creating a booklet about the work that you're doing. It could be creating a video and then, having plans to disseminate that information in different ways. So the final area I'm going to speak about is the steering group. So you are required to bring together organisations to form a local steering group, or to integrate the Community Food Initiative programme into an existing steering group if you have access to one. And this really is about having support to design and deliver your activities. So the steering group should represent the wider interest of the community. They should be able to provide you with support and resources for delivery of programs, address logistical details, give you access to your audience, help you link up with other organizations that can help you with your delivery. And really, it's all around promoting long-term sustainability. So it's building connections and building collaboration with different organizations and different services, so that for years to come, you will be able to deliver this type of work and have those relationships set up. So we know, I suppose, from previous evaluation of this programme, that the organisations that really put thought into their steering groups, and make sure that they have representation from a good variety of different organisations, they find it invaluable for providing support. I suppose what they've told us is that it's really helpful to think about, what type of activity do you want to deliver? Who is the audience that you're wanting to deliver it to? And what do you need to deliver the programme? What type of resources and expertise, venues, tutors, transport do you need to deliver your project? And those are the type of organisations that should be represented on your steering group. And if you have those, that will be a really useful resource to you moving throughout the programme. An example, I suppose, of some of the organisations that we've seen that are part of the steering group could be a local youth organisation, a food bank, a family resource centre, a sports group. It might be the local health promotion team from, the HSE or the Health and Social Care Trust. Membership of the steering group can vary, from year to year, and even throughout different projects, because it's going to be very much relevant to the projects that you're delivering. So that is it from me. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can contact myself or Sinead from CFI. We're always there to help and provide any information on any elements we've discussed. Thank you.